Okay, good morning. Oh, should I say good afternoon, guys, and hopefully gals. Today I'll be completing my second Puro review, and I'll probably be putting this into two parts. Like my two previous videos, still having trouble with the webcam. I think it's due to the webcam that it cuts out. So I'll probably finish up in about 10 minutes here, and then start with the part two of the review. The second probably around 10 minutes. Quite a long review today. So this review concerns All Japan Pro Wrestling's pay-per-view back in August 29th. Pro Wrestling Love in Ryogoku, I think that's how you pronounce it, Volume 10. The claimed attendance was 8,300, which in retrospect is fantastic. All Japan Pro Wrestling drew better than Noah, which is great for All Japan, but at the same time, not really surprising due to Noah's booking this year, which hasn't been fantastic, and the inability to push new stars. So on the 22nd of August, Noah put on their new navigation show in Tokyo, which drew 5,500, which was in the Ariake, which has a capacity of 10,000 people. All Japan put on this show that I'm currently reviewing in the same city, Tokyo, at Sumo Hall, which has a capacity of 13,000 fans and drew 8,300. So something sort of tells me and everyone that Noah is not in a good state at the moment, with All Japan Pro Wrestling drawing bigger. The show that I'm reviewing, basically the climax to the Summer Impact Tour, which began on the 15th. So let's look at the card. The card was actually quite stacked with some potentially terrific matchups. The second six-man match had an interesting story attached to it, with it basically comprising of Bushi continuing his feud with MAZADA. Some months ago, MAZADA's Voodoo Murders team lost to Bushi's team in a hair gimmick match, Bushi and MAZADA being the two captains, I think. So whoever lost was supposed to lose their hair. After that, MAZADA stuck a mask on, and he had a singles match with Bushi on the 15th, with Bushi winning and taking MAZADA's mask off. I found the mask thing a bit silly, as I felt both workers should have moved on earlier to other feuds or whatever. But the result of their match on the 15th was quite interesting, as it revealed that MAZADA had not shaved his head at all. This feud's been going on for a while now, but there's just with this match a new rhetoric, or with the match on the 15th there was new rhetoric with the mask. The match that they have today is just continuing the feud still. So. What else with the show? Keiji Muto was set to make his return from his extended time off due to injury against Kenzo Suzuki, who was he's arrived in All Japan and quickly joined the Voodoo Murders stable, attempting to revamp the impact the stable once had. Kenzo has just come back from an extended stint in Mexico after a year or so in WWE. Some of you might remember him from his work in the big American promotion. Before that, he was a New Japan regular. It was going to be interesting to see how this match was going to pan out. It wasn't going to hurt All Japan if Muta put Kenzo over, as All Japan do at the time when the show went on, and All Japan definitely needed more candidates for Triple Crown challenges. We'll talk a little bit more about the background of that match later on in the show. One interesting note before we get on to the matches, the original card had Lance Cades, who was set to team with Rene Dupré, both former WWE competitors, to take on the World Tag Champs Team Hawaii. Of course, as you would know, Cade sadly passed away, and Dupré was injured on one of the shows leading up to this pay-per-view, so this match was scrapped. The World Tag titles weren't put on the line at all on the show. 10 Bell Salute was performed before the first Summer Impact show on the 15th. So let's get on to the matches. The first match included the legend team of Masanobu Fuchi, I think they pronounce it, it's Fuki, I'm not too sure, and Osamu Nishimura taking on Antonio Thomas and Hiroshi Yamato. Interesting matchup. I don't find Thomas to be at all that interesting, and he did lie down lots in the matches building up to this pay-per-view. He was pinned quite a bit. But Yamato has potential and is probably due a junior heavyweight title challenge soon. Nishimura came off a good match against his former apprentice Manabu Soya, whom he put over, which is good. Soya later on in this show will challenge for the All Asia tag titles. I would have been surprised if Nish's team had lost this primarily due to Nishimura's loss to Soya a few days ago in the show previous to this one. I guess it was kind of a little bit of compensation, a little bit of comedy in this match. Particularly like the part where Fuki went to man up to Yamato after repeated blows, then decided to tag in Nish, avoiding the inevitable blow exchange. So that was quite funny. The crowd thought it was quite enjoyable at the expense of Fuchi. Nice exchanges between Nish and Yamato. Nish has some really sweet European uppercuts. They look brutal. Nish was great and gave the younger guys some time to work their stuff. Okay, opener, 1.5 stars. Okay, a few more matches before we get on to part 2. The next match was the six man I referred to earlier, and Bushi's team consisted of himself, Shuji, Kondo, who I quite like, and Kai, I like him also. They took on the Voodoo Murders team of Minoru, MAZADA, and Hate. This was a feud match, as I stated previously. MAZADA had been giving Bushi grief for some time now, attempting to rip off his mask on several occasions. I hadn't seen any of the previous hair gimmick 6-man matches, so I won't be able to compare. So this match certainly sounded like fun by all accounts, and I was hoping it would put a new spin on things once again. You know, the new rhetoric with the mask and the previous that they had the hair. A small note. Recently, Minoru won a #1 contender match for the junior belt early on in the Real World Tag League. I just read that the date has been announced for Hayashi and Minoru going for the belt. I can't remember when it was, but I'm a huge fan of Minoru Suzuki. I've just started watching Battle Arts and I've watched a lot of his matches in there. He is amazing. He can really work, and I really hope he gets the title, but I don't think he will. So on to the match. This was short. It seemed even shorter than what it actually was, which was around 7 minutes or so. Spot filled, with little selling but still quite fun. Voodoo Murders began attacking mid through, and while MAZADA was on the stick at the start of the match. They spent some time in one-on-one beatdowns and settled down around 30 or so seconds later, so it was fairly quick beginning. You could tell this is going to be a short match. MAZADA and Hate attempted to get heat from the crowd, but seemed to fail, which is pretty crap considering how long this angle has been going for. But it was good for a second match of the evening, I guess. Nothing special. I hardly saw Minoru, which was disappointing. Shuji Kondo looked quite good for the amount of time he was in there. Bushi was put over by Hate with his Firebird splash, which is a 450 splash, I think. Finish was okay. The Voodoo Murders stable as a heel unit looked pretty tame, and really didn't seem like they wanted to hurt Bushi at all. So that was kind of bad. Nothing really stood out in that department. Bushi battled with MAZADA after the match, and it wasn't until here that MAZADA actually looked menacing. He stole Bushi's mask and began wearing it, acting the goat. Looks like this feud was set to continue with Bushi failing to get the pin over MAZADA. Considering that in the post-match scuffle, I'll give it a star and 3/4. Would have received 2 if there were more heated exchanges between Bushi and MAZADA actually in the match. would have got less if there wasn't any post-match attacks to continue the feud. So yeah, it wasn't too bad. So that's part 1. I'll get started on part 2 shortly.